bought into nothing Tyler Marsh is selling.
They haven't.
I think Tyler Marsh lost his team the beginning of the year. I don't think he's the right player, right coach for this team. He hasn't proved to the fans that he's capable of coaching this team. Even in a losing season, even in the fact that he don't have a team, that's not all his fault. But at the same time,
a courtside spectator witnessed an incident during a recent Chicago Sky basketball game that has sparked controversy within the organization. The observer, identified as Don Price, reported overhearing an aggressive confrontation between Tyler Marsh's father, Donnie Marsh, and the team players. According to the witness account, the interaction was described as harsh and demoralizing, with language that crossed professional boundaries. The spectator expressed concern about the inappropriate nature of the exchange, noting that while basketball instruction might have been intended, the delivery was unnecessarily hostile toward the young athletes. The incident occurred near the team's entrance tunnel, where voices carried clearly to nearby seats. Multiple witnesses have since corroborated similar accounts of the confrontation, suggesting this was not an isolated misunderstanding, but a pattern of concerning behavior within the organization's management structure.
The fact that he don't have a team, that's not all his fault. But at the same time, I'm asking y'all, really, let's be honest. Is he doing the best he can, even with this weak roster?
No.
Because I thought the point of hiring Tyler Marsh was because he's a development coach. So now I still haven't seen no development from Matty Westbell. No.
The witness described the language used as particularly venomous, including profanity-laced demands for the players to improve their performance. The confrontation was loud enough to be heard from a considerable distance, indicating the intensity of the exchange. The spectator emphasized that no professional athlete should endure such treatment, regardless of performance issues or team struggles. The incident has raised questions about appropriate boundaries between management personnel and active players. Other attendees at the game have since come forward with similar observations, lending credibility to the initial report. The nature of the language used was described as degrading rather than constructive, focusing on personal attacks rather than basketball fundamentals. This type of interaction violates basic principles of professional sports management and player development. The timing of the confrontation, occurring during an already difficult season for the team, compounds the problematic nature of the incident.
Matty Westbell, nobody else. Camilla. I still think Camilla really, to me, took a step back compared to the way she was playing with Teaspoon. Doesn't feel like she believes in Tyler Marsh like that, to me. I'm looking at Angel. She posting Teaspoon on social media. Now, imagine you being with a girl. And
current roster performance suggests widespread disconnection between coaching staff and players throughout the season. Post-game interviews reveal players openly discussing lack of motivation and commitment to team objectives. The coaching philosophy appears to have failed in establishing trust or buy-in from key roster members. Player development has stagnated under current leadership, with several athletes showing regression rather than improvement. The team's overall chemistry has deteriorated significantly compared to previous seasons under different coaching arrangements. Statistical analysis reveals declining performance metrics across multiple categories, indicating systemic issues beyond individual player capabilities. Veteran players have expressed frustration with coaching decisions and strategic implementation during media appearances. The disconnect between management expectations and player execution has become increasingly evident in game situations. Multiple sources within the organization suggest that fundamental coaching principles are not being effectively communicated or implemented during practices and games.
With a girl, and she posts her ex on social media. Just imagine that, bro. Like, come on, dog. Like, nobody's stupid.
Nah.
Nobody. We know what's going on, Angel. You ain't got to say nothing. We've been saying it. Now, what y'all think about this? So apparently, fans overheard Donnie Marsh, Tyler Marsh's father, going crazy on the team, like saying all kind of crazy stuff. They say he was cussing them out.
Tyler Marsh's tenure as head coach has been marked by consistent struggles in connecting with his roster. Despite being hired specifically for his reputation as a developmental coach, tangible improvements in player skills remain largely absent. Key players like Camila appear to have regressed compared to their performance under previous coaching staff. The coaching staff's inability to maximize existing talent has become a recurring theme throughout the season. Player confidence levels have noticeably declined under current leadership structures. Strategic game planning often fails to utilize player strengths effectively, resulting in frustrated athletes and poor team chemistry. The head coach's communication style seems incompatible with the personalities and learning preferences of several key roster members. Fundamental basketball concepts are not being translated effectively from practice sessions to actual game scenarios. The gap between coaching theory and practical application has created ongoing tension within the team environment. Players frequently appear confused about their roles and responsibilities during crucial game situations. Social media activity among players provides additional evidence of internal organizational dysfunction. Angel Reese's public posts celebrating former coaching staff members send clear signals about current team dynamics. The contrast between player enthusiasm for previous coaches versus current leadership speaks volumes about organizational climate. Public displays of support for former staff members represent unprecedented breaches of professional courtesy within the organization. These social media choices indicate deliberate messaging rather than accidental oversight by seasoned professional athletes. The timing of such posts, particularly during difficult team periods, suggest coordinated resistance to current management. Player interactions with media consistently avoid positive commentary about current coaching arrangements. The absence of public support for current leadership from star players creates additional pressure on an already struggling organization. Social media patterns reveal deeper issues than simple coaching disagreements or strategic differences. The public nature of these demonstrations indicates that private communication channels have likely been exhausted without resolution. Organizational structure problems extend beyond coaching staff to include questionable personnel decisions and role clarity. Donnie Marsh's position in basketball operations creates potential conflicts of interests that compromise team dynamics. Family relationships within professional organizations require careful management to maintain credibility and effectiveness. The boundaries between operational responsibilities and coaching duties have become blurred, creating confusion throughout the organization. Support staff members are exceeding their designated roles, interfering with established coaching hierarchies and player development protocols. Professional assistant coaches with legitimate expertise are being marginalized by unqualified personnel in operational roles. The organizational chart appears to prioritize personal relationships over basketball competency and professional experience. Clear role definitions and accountability measures are absent, allowing inappropriate behavior to continue unchecked. The lack of professional boundaries has created an environment where anyone feels empowered to direct players regardless of qualifications. This structural dysfunction undermines the authority of legitimate coaching staff and confuses player expectations about leadership hierarchy. The Chicago Sky organization has been rated as the worst franchise by players across the league by a significant margin. This reputation extends beyond simple win-loss records to encompass overall treatment of athletes and organizational culture. Player surveys consistently rank the organization poorly in categories including management support, facility quality, and professional development opportunities. The negative reputation affects the team's ability to attract quality free agents and retain existing talent. Word travels quickly throughout professional basketball circles about organizational dysfunction and player treatment. The gap between this organization and others in player satisfaction metrics represents a substantial competitive disadvantage. Management decisions consistently prioritize short-term fixes over long-term organizational health and player development. The franchise's reputation problems compound on-court performance issues, creating a cycle of decline that becomes difficult to reverse. Professional athletes have numerous options and will naturally gravitate toward organizations that demonstrate competence and respect. The current organizational culture actively repels talent rather than attracting and developing it effectively. Assistant coaching staff members face significant constraints in their ability to contribute meaningfully to team development. Tanisha Wright and other qualified coaches reportedly receive limited input opportunities despite their expertise and experience. The hierarchical structure prevents legitimate basketball minds from implementing their knowledge effectively. Coaching decisions appear to bypass experienced staff members in favor of unqualified personnel with organizational connection. Professional development for assistant coaches is hindered by the dysfunctional reporting structure and unclear authority distribution. Qualified coaches become frustrated when their expertise is consistently overlooked or undermined by operational staff. The organization fails to utilize available coaching talent effectively, wasting valuable resources and knowledge. Basketball strategy and player development suffer when qualified professionals are marginalized within the organizational structure. The disconnect between coaching expertise and decision-making authority creates inefficiencies that directly impact team performance. Professional coaches require clear authority and support to implement effective development programs for players. Star players Angel Reese and Kalia Copper appear increasingly frustrated with organizational direction and leadership decisions. Their public statements and behavior suggest growing dissatisfaction with current management approaches. The franchise risks losing cornerstone players who could form the foundation for future success. Player retention becomes increasingly difficult when organizational culture fails to meet professional expectations. The relationship between franchise players and coaching staff has deteriorated to the point where productive collaboration seems unlikely. These athletes have expressed interest in alternative situations that might better utilize their talents and ambitions. The organization's failure to recognize and address player concerns creates an environment where departure becomes attractive. Professional athletes will naturally seek opportunities that provide better support, coaching, and organizational competence. The current trajectory suggests that significant roster changes are likely unless management issues are addressed promptly. The loss of franchise players would represent a devastating setback for organizational rebuilding efforts. The overall organizational dysfunction extends from ownership through management to coaching staff, creating a comprehensive failure in professional standards. Jeff's involvement in activities beyond his role sets a precedent that enables others to exceed their authority inappropriately. The lack of clear boundaries and accountability measures allows personal relationships to supersede professional competence. Systematic changes are required across all levels of the organization to address these fundamental problems. The current structure prioritizes loyalty and family connections over basketball expertise and professional qualifications. Without significant organizational restructuring, the franchise will continue struggling to compete effectively against properly managed teams. The problems are too extensive to be resolved through minor adjustments or personnel changes within the existing structure. A complete organizational audit and restructuring appears necessary to establish professional standards and clear role definition. The franchise's future depends on leadership's willingness to acknowledge these problems and implement comprehensive solutions that prioritize basketball competence over personal relationship. Basketball broadcasters found themselves in an uncomfortable position during recent Chicago Sky games, struggling to maintain professional composure while witnessing Angel Reese's shooting performances. The Washington Mystics delivered a commanding victory over the Sky, with Sonia Citron dominating the court in what many considered a complete dismantling of Chicago's game plan. Reese's homecoming turned into a disappointing spectacle as her fundamental shooting struggles became impossible to ignore. Professional commentators, trained to find excitement in routine plays, were caught on live television laughing at missed attempts before quickly attempting to regain their serious demeanor. The incident highlighted how Reese's on-court difficulties have reached levels that challenge even experienced broadcasters' ability to maintain neutral commentary. This situation represents an unusual phenomenon where a professional athlete's performance issues have become so pronounced that they generate unintentional entertainment rather than athletic inspiration. Statistical analysis reveals troubling patterns in Reese's shooting efficiency that defy conventional basketball expectations. Standing at 6'3", she has managed to convert only 31.5% of her layup attempts while ranking third in the league for total layup volume. This represents a mathematical anomaly in professional basketball, where players of her size typically achieve conversion rates between 70–80% on close-range shots. Her overall field goal percentage sits at 44.4%, which initially appears respectable until examining shot distribution data. The majority of her attempts occur within 5 feet of the basket, making her conversion rate particularly concerning for basketball analysts. During one memorable sequence against New York Liberty, she missed 4 consecutive consecutive putback attempts within 12 seconds, with 2 shots being blocked entirely. These struggles have transformed routine basketball plays into viral social media content, though not for positive reasons. The disconnect between opportunity and execution has created unprecedented discussion among basketball statisticians. The viral nature of Reese's missed attempts has spawned an entire ecosystem of social media content creation. Compilation videos featuring her unsuccessful shots have accumulated millions of views across various platforms, with content creators adding comedic elements like circus music and slow-motion effects. These clips have become more popular than traditional highlight reels, creating an unusual situation where athletic failure generates more engagement than success. The phenomenon represents a shift in how sports content is consumed and shared in digital space. Basketball fans have created an ongoing series of videos documenting each missed layup, turning her shooting struggles into serialized entertainment. The content has reached such popularity that it overshadows actual game highlights and team achievements. This viral fame presents complex implications for both personal branding and team marketing efforts. The situation demonstrates how social media can amplify athletic shortcomings in ways that traditional sports coverage never could, creating lasting digital footprints that extend far beyond individual games. Chicago Sky's overall performance metrics paint a concerning picture that extends beyond individual player struggles. Currently maintaining a 7-21 record, the team has managed to combine poor individual performances with systemic team failure. Their 8-game losing streak coincided with Reese's most publicized shooting difficulties, creating a compound effect on fan engagement and team morale. Interestingly, the Sky went 0-5 in games without Reese due to her back injury, suggesting complex team dynamics that defy simple explanation. This creates a statistical paradox where the team performs poorly both with and without their featured player. Coach Tyler Marsh faces the challenging task of developing winning strategies around a roster that struggles with fundamental execution. The team's offensive efficiency has shown marginal improvement in some metrics during Reese's absence, though wins remain elusive. Team building becomes exponentially more difficult when core players generate negative attention that overshadows positive developments elsewhere on the roster. Reebok's investment in Angel Reese represents a significant gamble in modern sports marketing strategy. The company under Shaquille O'Neal's leadership made Reese their primary basketball signing, with plans for a signature shoe launch. CEO Todd Krinsky has publicly compared her potential to legendary figures like O'Neal and Allen Iverson, suggesting similar culture-changing capability. However, this comparison becomes problematic when considering the fundamental difference in basketball competence between past legends and current reality. Traditional endorsement models rely on consumers wanting to emulate successful athletes, purchasing products associated with excellence and achievement. Reese's situation challenges this basic premise, as her most memorable moments involve fundamental skill failures rather than inspiring performances. Industry observers question whether Reebok fully understood the trajectory they were investing in when committing to this partnership. The disconnect between marketing promises and on-court reality creates unprecedented challenges for brand positioning and consumer messaging. The injury situation surrounding Reese has provided unexpected relief for multiple stakeholders in this developing story. Her back injury, while unfortunate from a personal standpoint, occurred at a strategically beneficial time for damage control efforts. The timing coincided with peak viral saturation of her missed shot compilations, allowing public attention to shift away from ongoing performance issues. Her absence from the Indiana Fever matchup against Caitlin Clark eliminated what could have been an unfavorable comparison between college rivals who have taken dramatically different professional trajectories. Clark's successful transition to professional competence contrasts sharply with Reese's continued struggles with basic basketball fundamentals. The injury provided Reebok's marketing team valuable time to reassess their promotional strategies and consider alternative approaches to brand association. Medical absences have become an unexpected form of public relations management, shielding both player and brand from additional negative exposure during a particularly challenging period in her professional development. Contemporary sports marketing faces unprecedented challenges when athlete performance contradicts brand messaging fundamentals. Reese's situation represents a case study in how endorsement deals can backfire when performance fails to support promotional investment. Traditional marketing relies on success breeding aspiration, where consumers purchase products to emulate athletic achievement. The fundamental question becomes how to market performance equipment when the associated athlete consistently demonstrates performance deficiency. Reebok has attempted to pivot toward personality and social media presence rather rather than on-court achievement, emphasizing cultural influence over basketball competence. This strategy might work for lifestyle brands but becomes problematic for performance-based basketball equipment. The disconnect between product purpose and athlete demonstration creates cognitive dissonance for potential consumers. Marketing teams must navigate the challenge of selling improvement-focused products while being associated with someone who appears to struggle with fundamental skills that most consumers could execute successfully. Team dynamics within the Chicago Sky reveal complex interactions between individual performance issues and collective basketball success. The supporting cast appears unable to compensate for Reese's limitations, instead highlighting her deficiencies through their own struggle. Coach Tyler Marsh must develop winning systems around a player whose most reliable contribution appears to be social media content generation rather than basketball production. The coaching challenge resembles attempting high-performance objectives with fundamentally flawed equipment. Statistical analysis suggests that team offensive efficiency occasionally improves during Reese's absence, despite continued losses indicating that her presence might negatively impact overall basketball quality. This creates uncomfortable questions about roster construction and strategic planning. The situation demonstrates how individual player issues can cascade throughout team performance, affecting everything from game planning to player development. Management decisions become increasingly difficult when core investments actively undermine stated organizational objectives. Social media dynamics have transformed athletic failure into a form of entertainment commodity in unprecedented ways. Reese's shooting struggles generate millions of views and instant meme creation, providing endless content for sports commentary channels and social media creators. This creates perverse incentive structures where athletic incompetence becomes valuable entertainment content. She has achieved reality television-style fame, becoming notable for notoriety rather than achievement or skill demonstration. For companies like Reebok, this presents complex risk-reward calculations about betting on attention-generating personalities regardless of performance quality. However, viral fame built on failure typically has limited sustainability as audiences eventually move to new sources of unintentional comedy. The challenge lies in distinguishing between temporary memorable moments and lasting valuable association. The entertainment value of athletic confusion provides immediate engagement but questionable long-term brand building potential. Modern sports marketing must navigate the difference between generating attention and creating lasting positive associations that drive consumer behavior and brand loyalty. The approaching 2026 launch date for Reese's signature shoe creates mounting pressure for all involved parties to address fundamental marketing challenges. Reebok has already invested significantly in campaign development, preview materials, and anticipation building around what they hoped would be a culture-defining product launch. However, the cultural definition has evolved in directions that complicate original marketing strategies and brand positioning. Industry speculation suggests potential strategy modifications, including pivoting toward lifestyle products rather than performance basketball equipment, acknowledging that connections between Reese and basketball excellence have become tenuous. Some observers predict launch delays while hoping that time might diminish the impact of viral lowlight compilations. The most pessimistic industry analysis suggests Reebok might be seeking exit strategies despite public commitments to the partnership. Business realities of associating brands with consistent athletic failure eventually become impossible to ignore, regardless of initial investment level. The situation represents unprecedented territory in sports marketing, where signature athletes become known for consistently failing at their signature skills, creating fundamental contradictions in product positioning and consumer messaging strategy.